Well, hello, I am back, and I decided that since I came back from the beach, I didn't get a whole lot done as far as arting or anything like that went. We basically were lazy beach bums and chilled out by the beach and walked the boardwalk, and that was about the end of it. I didn't really paint until the morning before we were leaving, and I thought we were going to get back early that morning, but we didn't get back until almost 9 o'clock that afternoon. But first I was going to show you what I did in my art journal a couple days before, and then the day we left, and then here recently. So this is one of them. Not the greatest turtle in the world, but you know, it is what it is. This one you've already seen. So there's that shenanigans. This one I did with gouache. This was a couple days before we left. It's actually on the 19th, so I didn't really get to post this or anything like that. This one was done the same day. I was kind of wanting some cupcakes, but since we didn't have any, I decided to draw one, and I used watercolor in that one. This was a failed string attempt, so I kind of tried to create a tree, but it didn't quite work out like I wanted to. So this is the only one that I did when I was at the beach. I was actually looking out our window because we got a beachfront hotel room, and there was this cute little boat, so I decided to use 3 different colored blues with my watercolor paints and do it that way. Then this one I just did. I had some markers that my mom had bought me, and I hadn't quite used them yet, so I decided to make a mandala and then colored them in and everything like that. So there's that one. This one I got from my Art Snacks box. This was a Shinhan marker, and then I had I think it's a Zig fine liner, and then I had a Karen Dosh pencil, and then it came with like a Sumo retractable eraser. So I just did that and wanted to see how they worked out, so it did work out pretty good. Then I did another coffee one, kind of more cartoony, I guess, and I thought it was kind of cute, and I did this with a Jane Davenport fountain pen is what I did that with, and my handwriting is actually getting pretty good nowadays. And then this one I did late last night. I really like poppies, so I decided that I would try my heart out at it. The background I should have done first before I did the flowers, but I went in afterwards and did all that, so it kind of looks a little bit weird, but that's the end of that. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to show you my watercolor palettes, what I started with and what I work with now. I have a bunch, just so you know. So this one, this actually has Pro Art watercolors. There was, I think, 24 in the package for like $5 at AC Moore, and I got this at AC Moore too, and I think it was 20 bucks. So these are the colors that I started with. As you can see there, all the colors and everything in there. I actually had to add some glycerin in there because they were cracking and falling out, and yeah, it was kind of a hot mess, but I still use them every now and then. I usually use these ones for if I'm card making or just to kind of doodle with, and yeah, one of those things where if a friend comes over and wants to watercolor, I'm not going to be too terribly upset if they get ruined or whatnot. Then I have these ones. These are probably one of the first ones that I started with when I started doing the adult coloring books. These guys they're good for beginners. They're good for kids. I don't know if I can get it open now. But not ones that I would do like professional stuff with. But as you can tell, they're kind of chalky, but they work out for what their purpose is, and I've used them a little bit, not too much, but they work for what I want them for. And actually, I think I got these from, I don't remember if it was Hobby Lobby or if it was Michael's, but they weren't very much. I think they might have been like $8. And then these ones I got from Hobby Lobby, I know for sure, because I hunted these bad boys down because I wanted some of the metallic kind. I can't get that open now. There we go. And whenever I swatched them out, they were there's very little. It took a lot for them to get the color and stuff with, and as you can tell, they kind of come out. It came with this little brush, but I don't use it. It just kind of stays in there. I use these for if I want like glittery accents or something like that on. I haven't used them all too much often, but they work. Alright, so let me see what the next one is. I have a couple Winsor & Newton ones that I tore down and reused and things like that, so I'll show you one of those first. This was one of them. I really liked the palette, but I wanted to upgrade my Winsor & Newton. So I took the Winsor & Newton out of here and I put these pre-watercolor. They actually came in this box with watercolor tubes, these little tiny palettes like this, that they're similar to the ones that I just showed you. They're kind of chalky, but they do have some really pretty vibrant colors. So there's those ones there. But I'll go back to this one here. These are just some cheap ones there, and as you can tell, they crack and everything like that. But again, I can use these for if I want to do card making, or if a friend comes over and wants to watercolor, I can pass these over and not worry if they get ruined or whatever. And then I have these Kuretake watercolors that I actually won through YouTube. So these ones are the metallic ones, and they are actually really, really pretty. They are very vibrant in color. Their glitteriness does show up. So I do use those every now and then. And then these ones are just the regular colors that they come with. And I really do like these ones. They are good for in your adult coloring books. They're good for card because they don't have so much pigment in them that they're going to be so bright, but they're not dull enough to where you can't see them. So they have just the right amount of stuff in there, and you don't have to have a whole lot of water to work with them. All right, and this is the pre. That's what they look like. They're pretty. They're bright. So that's what that is. Let's see what I want to do next. I did buy a Lucas watercolor set. I didn't like the box because it was really hard to open, so I have my extra Winsor & Newton Cotman in there. But I'll show you what I did with those other colors that I did like. They're not my favorite, but I'm going to use them, so I prefer the Winsor & Newton Cotman. So I'm going to show you this one. I ordered this tin off of Amazon, and I think it was like $19. And I just added my little peace sign to it because I'm cool with it. And then this is the swatch. These are all Winsor & Newton colors in there. So those are the ones that I like to use quite often. And then, as you can see, I have a water brush. I have plenty of room to put other colors in, and I have a credit card scraper. But as you can tell, I've used this one quite a bit, and I really do like this. This is more or less the one that I use in my art room. And right now, my art room is kind of a disaster, so I'm not even going to show you that because I'm going to be moving downstairs once we get our downstairs finished. So maybe I'll do a tour of that whenever we get that done. So there's that one. This is the one that I made. This came with those pre-watercolor by Nicole. This is the box that it came in. Like I said, it had tube colors. It had the little palettes in there, and it had an eraser, pencil, that kind of thing. So I took it apart and reconstructed it. So here we go. So this palette came with my ink that I got for my calligraphy. I just bought a couple different inks. I think it had like a gold, a silver, a white, a black, and I think it was a tip cleaner. But instead of using it for that, I decided I'd just use it for this. And then in here, I have water brushes. I have a marker. Then I have a pencil, credit card scraper, a ruler, and I made my own little swatch thing here. So as you can tell, now this one has some of the Lucas ones in there. If you look at this, like this one has L, that means it was for Lucas, and WN is for Winsor & Newton. So you can see along here, I put those on there just so I knew. But there's 24 colors in there, and I thought I would just take some of the pans that I had that were extra, and I actually hot glued them down so they would stay in there, but I can use this either on the go or at home or take it outside or whatever. I'm thinking that I may stain it and do a pretty design on it since it's just kind of a plain Jane looking thing, but I thought it was pretty neat for my first ever made palette. So then it closes and it clips. So there's that. And then my newest purchases that I've made recently. Let me set this out of the way here. I broke down and bought the entire set of this. This is where most of my extra Winsor & Newton things came from. So I swatched every single one of the colors out. And I ended up taking this with me to the beach. But again, I didn't get to do a whole lot with it. So, but as you can see, there are all the colors. Pretty, pretty. And then this opens up. Ta-da! I've only used it a couple times so far, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this for an at-home kind of ordeal. It's not heavy like my black one is, but my black one I've gotten used to it, so I'm going to be using it a little bit more. This one I think I'm just going to keep for, like I said, just for here, and maybe I might take it out. I'm not sure. It's just so pretty. And then I'm going to show you my gouache palette here. This was one of the first palettes that I used for when I had started into watercolor. For some dumb reason, I took permanent marker and wrote on the colors because I couldn't remember what they were. So you just have to ignore them. But this is my gouache. I have Reeves gouache in here, and it's worked out pretty well. As you can tell, it does crack, but that's okay. It stays like this, and it stays on my table, and that's the end of it. But I also purchased this little dude. I'd heard a lot of good things about it. People were loving it, so I went ahead and I purchased it. It was like $14. So it has the main colors that I use in it, and then this came with the other little palette. And then it has this little brush here that you can take apart and use that. But I'm just going to leave those in there, and I'm going to put this in my travel bag. So if I get bored, there's something small enough for that. But I think that is it for now. Actually, I do have, these are all my tubes and then my half pans that I have. So I have Winsor & Newton. These are the Pro Art ones, and then, see, it's a Pro Art. Some of these down in here are the, I'm not going to dig in there, but as you can tell, there's a lot of different colors and stuff in there that oh, there's one. This is the tube that came with the preset. So they're not as big, but they'll work for what's needed with them. But since I didn't post anything after I went to the beach, I went ahead and just thought of this so I can post something so you all could see what watercolors I had to work with. If there's any suggestions on what I should try or what you think might be better than what I have, leave a comment for me. Like I said, I am new. I'm here to inspire. I'm not here to judge. I hope you don't judge. Work with what you have and what you can afford. And as always, enjoy yourself. Don't let anybody tell you that your work sucks, because it's your work. Critics are critics, and that's the end of it. But I hope you like this. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and I can continue to do this. If there's any suggestions on what I should do next, please leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Bye.